Hey, glad to have you back. It's a Tuesday. It's the first time in 2013, because it's a busy start to the year for our next guest, that we get Mark Bradley here, Dr. Mark Bradley, Brantford Podiatry. Thanks for coming in today.
Great to be back again.
You know, I love it. Just before the break, you told me the topic. Bare feet.
Yeah.
And, you know, ideal in working with his junior hockey team, our equipment manager, no socks, sandals, all through the winter.
In this weather?
Yeah, traveling on a bus. We were going to Erie, Pennsylvania. They had 6 inches of snow, for those who remember inches. And he's got sandals and bare feet. Loves it.
I can only wonder his motivation.
I have no idea. Well, for those who have to deal with the equipment of junior hockey players, you know, this is a different kind of person.
I bet.
So,
yeah.
Bare feet in February?
Okay, the reason I thought we'd talk about that is, I mean, we've had a lot of cold weather, and a lot of us are spending much more time indoors than we would normally. And that, for many people, involves either spending time indoors barefoot or in socks or in slippers. And it's having an incredible effect on our business. Things are very busy.
Let me guess, bare feet, no support.
You got it.
Slippers, no support.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And maybe, because you've been beating me over the head on this one, maybe the comfortable shoes are not properly supported.
Yeah, again, you know, people say to us all the time about, you know, shouldn't we spend time barefoot? Isn't it a good workout? And, you know, isn't that natural? And obviously, yeah, going barefoot's natural, but there's nothing natural about the world we live in. We basically manipulated and changed everything. You know, the first thing we do when we build is scrape everything completely flat and then cover it in the hardest possible surfaces we can find. So when you decide to deprive yourself of the benefits of footwear, you're asking your body to deal with this horrendous surface and repetitive impact over and over again without any protection at all.
Now, one of the things, I love getting simplistic because that's how I was born. I know my heel hits the floor. I know the bottom of the side of my foot's supposed to hit the floor, and I know my toes are supposed to hit the floor, but then there's that arch area. Mm-hmm. If I'm going barefoot, if I got the potential, does my foot suddenly believe that that part's supposed to hit the floor?
Well, your foot's supposed to roll in to give you a little shock absorption,
right,
and the muscles are supposed to control it. So for most of us, I shouldn't include myself in that, I don't have particularly good feet, but for those that have good feet, you know, they can deal with that. And then the muscles will control and stabilize that. But when habitually you're asking those muscles to work harder and harder and harder, eventually you start to fail, and that's when that arch component starts to lower. It's not that the arch is falling, it's the actual muscles that support it are starting to become less physically capable.
Now, I live about 5 minutes away from a beach. I'm guessing sand must be one of, maybe I'm going to be wrong, I'm guessing sand must be one of nature's gifts, because when your foot hits that, the sand will cushion or come up to that arch, and at the same time, the parts that are supposed to hit are going to hit.
Yeah, I mean, sand's lovely, and again, even for our patients that have not particularly great feet, we say to them, look, you know, all bets are off. When you're at the beach, enjoy the beach. You know, go barefoot, you know, be natural. It actually makes life pretty hard. Because the actual sand allows your heel to sink down. It makes the muscles actually work a lot harder. So, I mean, historically back home in Ireland, you know, they'd take racehorses down to the beach and run them along the beach because it stretches out their muscles and actually makes them work harder. So, as nice as it is, you're actually working really hard, especially on soft sand.
So that's why somebody's always saying, if I want to get a good physical workout, go take a run on the beach, because I'm going to be cardiovascular. I guess I'm going to be working that much harder.
Yeah, it works really hard. The other problem too is a lot of the beaches tend to have an incline to them.
Do you get a lot of people surprised by maybe the fact that maybe they buy good quality footwear and they've got support, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in these situations, maybe they're at home and they start to feel a little bit of discomfort. Is it one of those things where somebody's surprised that, oh, what's the problem? You get to tell them bare feet?
Well, and one of the biggest groups that we have that come in to see us as new patients are people that just retired from work 6 months ago.
Great. Well, listen, hang on. You're staying with us. I want to get into, I got a problem. Now what? We're going to return. Dr. Mark Bradley's with us, Brantford Podiatry Associates right here in Brantford. His first visit of 2013. We continue in just about 2 minutes' time. break, we were talking about bare feet and the problems it causes and all this. I want to get into the simple thing. I don't think you and I have ever discussed it. I've got a problem. Now what? If I'm going to go for help, and let's say I'm not walking in, to your location on Terrace Hill. If I go into a location that is advertising, they take care of feet, they take care of that. Should I really be asking about the credentials of the person that's doing the examination?
Well, that goes for anything in life. You want somebody that's qualified that can obviously look after you. If you have a foot problem, basically you're looking at podiatrist or chiropodist. Those are the two professional specialties that deal with foot function, ailments of the feet, surgical interventions. So that's basically who you want to deal with.
Now, when you go through this, what kind of training is involved for you to end up being in the expertise you're in?
Well, here in Ontario, we have a chiropody program. The students there do an undergraduate program. They do a 3-year program with residencies in various specialties and clinical practice, and it's a fairly lengthy process. In the U.S., again, postgraduate, they do a 4-year program, and then they do surgical, because they do a lot of bone surgery. They'll do surgical residencies anywhere. I think it's a minimum now of 2 years surgical residency after that, but that's just for surgery.
I heard you say that in passing. So surgically, you're qualified to be able to go in and make those adjustments too?
Absolutely, yeah. We do quite a bit of surgery. Again, it's not the focus. I was saying earlier, I heard an article the other day that all podiatrists and chiropodists, all they do is foot surgery. And again, we
Your goal is not to get there?
Well, no. I mean, you need to understand the biomechanics of the foot to be a good foot surgeon. It's very important. You can't fix something without understanding how it functions. And to understand how it functions, you need to know the anatomy, the physiology, and whilst I certainly don't profess to understand each and every sports person that walks through the door, some of the sports that come in, I had a lady yesterday who's a competitive cross-country skier, and she was explaining to me the infinite details between skating and classic cross-country skiing. Interesting education. We don't do a lot of that in Ireland. So, I try to transfer that information, and that's basically, all I can say is, find a person that is adequately qualified. It shouldn't be a retail outlet, and you shouldn't get that sensation that you're being sold.
Let's get to the negative side of that. Is it possible that, say, even here in Brantford, I could walk into a place that might be advertised that they take care of feet, and I may not get the kind of care that you're talking about?
It's
Now, I always guess every time there's something to do medically that you're so heavily regulated and there's an association and they're right down on top of you, but you're telling me it's not the case?
Well, here's the benefit. If you go and see somebody like myself,
right.
I have a college that governs me, so it protects you against me doing something wrong.
Well, how come the government isn't then protecting me from somebody who might even unknowingly try to be you when they can't?
It's very frustrating. I get folks coming in, for example, orthotics is the biggest area. They've gotten orthotics from another medical professional.
Oh.
Non-podiatry, non-chiropody, and they're very frustrated. They've used up their money, and nobody governs that. When I do it, I have a governing body that makes sure I treat you right, that you get the appropriate sort of examination, that you get dealt with, in a respectful and decent manner. So by seeing someone who's qualified, you're not really, you're being protected as soon as you go there. It's a safe haven for a patient to go to.
So buyer beware. As funny as it sounds, I never think of something to do with my health or well-being as buyer, but I guess you have to be that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people with health-regulated organizations, they don't really grasp the fact that the organizations are there to protect the patient from the actual practitioners, to make sure that they're treated appropriately. And most of the health colleges will pursue very aggressively any concerns that the patients voice. It's
Thanks for the barefoot update. Thanks for the information, and we'll see you back here real soon.
As
Thanks
always,
for coming
my pleasure.
Today.
Nice to see
Dr.
you
Mark Bradley with us, Brantford Podiatry. We're coming back. Don't adjust your set. It's Tuesday. Sid Bolton's next, Inside Brand.